Good evening, it's Mehran again. The name of this talk is Reincarnation Part 2. Now, people ask, what is the evidence for reincarnation? Some people want to call it, want to look for scientific evidence. If we want to look for that, for example, you could take into account psychics, for example, who appear to talk to the dead. Some of the most famous psychics in the world, John Edward, for example, extremely famous psychic, you can look him up. Many psychics around the world have been able to do that with great accuracy. In fact, John Edward himself has been going through vigorous scientific methods at a university. I believe that's available on the internet, and he has been authenticated by that process. Now, other evidence, hypnosis. People under hypnosis have recalled previous lifetimes. They've even spoken languages in which they normally cannot speak in normal everyday language. When they have described previous lifetimes, often when it has been looked at, the accuracy is absolutely uncanny. There's also children who seem to remember a previous life. There was a child on the Isle of Skye, I believe in Scotland, who remembered a previous life and went back to his old life, and he was able to describe everything with uncanny accuracy. There was a child in Syria, for example, who claimed he was murdered by a man in a village, and he led his new parents to that village, and the man was so stunned he actually confessed, and he was arrested for murder. So that is also available on the internet if you care to look. So these are the type of things that people would say it's evidence. Of course, there's many different types of evidence. What is considered as scientific to one person may not be considered as scientific to another. There's also the whole tradition of mankind, which goes back thousands and thousands of years. People tend to forget in the West that the majority of people in the world actually do believe in reincarnation. If you look at China, India, Japan, and the Far East, for example, hundreds of millions of people believe that. Very often people tend to dismiss ideas because so few people believe them. That in and of itself is not evidence. But if they were to take for some people to whom it is important, if they were to look at that objectively, they would realize that in India, for example, over 1 billion people believe in reincarnation, and that's completely natural to them. It's in the West that this seems to be a crazy idea. Now, if you look at Christianity, for example, early Christian scriptures constantly mention reincarnation. The two events that took the whole idea of reincarnation from Christianity was, one, the Council of Nicaea in the 326 AD, I believe that was, and the second event was by a Byzantine emperor called Emperor Justinian, and his wife Theodora, who deliberately took out all references of reincarnation from the Bible. It is speculated that these people were so cruel and they killed so many people that they thought that if they take this reference out, that means that this phenomena cannot exist. So anyway, why do we reincarnate? As I mentioned in part 1, in order to learn lessons. Basically, life is like going to school. You graduate when you learn all the lessons that you've come to learn. If you haven't passed your exams, in other words, if you haven't learned your lessons, you need to take them again. And if you don't have enough time to take them again in this lifetime, I'm afraid you have to come back and learn them again. Now you could be a man or a woman. There's also many different other perspectives on reincarnation, one being karma, in which I will be talking in the next segment. Hope you enjoyed the talk, and speak to you again soon.